poverty, disease, sickness, and death, and there seems no way out. There seems to be no way of escape. And because there seems no hope or no other way out, no other escape, we turn to wine, we turn to whiskey, heroin, morphine, cocaine, opium, poison, nothing but poison.
I know I can, I'm sure I can. Get this dope out my veins, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Break free from the chains, I can heal, I can change. A fight and never give up. I done made up my mind, I can do it, and that's what's up. I'ma learn, I'ma find what I need to help myself. I understand that it's up to me to take care of my health. I'ma prove to the world that I could get back up on my feet, and I'ma do it for myself, for me, and for my family. They only want the best for me. They wanna see me in control of my destiny, and I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Get this dope out my veins, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Break free from the chains, ain't no easy way out, but I made it this far. Many days I slip back, frustrated cause it's hard, but it's my time now to make the changes in my heart. And I ain't looking back, right here the days where I'ma start. I believe in myself, I just made some bad choices. I still love myself and I ain't ready for the coffin. I'm reaching out to my loved ones for their support, and no negative thoughts is gonna stop me. Just watch, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Get this dope out my veins, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Break free from, I got things I wanna do with my life. I ain't dead yet, I know I've been close to the edge, but I ain't dead yet. It's never too late to make a change for the better, and I really mean it this time. I'm about to get myself together. I know it's not just me, I'm not the only one. Everybody got something that they need to overcome. You ain't gotta smoke crack to be a fiend. A fiend is just somebody that's addicted. It could be anything. Too many of us addicted to the American dream. We high from the lies on the TV screen. We drunk from the poison that they teach in the school. And we junkies from the chemicals we eat in the food. But I believe I can, I know I can, I'm sure I can. Get this dope out my veins, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Break free from the chains, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Get this dope out my veins, I believe I can. I know I can, I'm sure I can. Break free from the chains, I believe.
Well, now there's a new party which has started
who have the rights and the best interests of the black people at heart. Let us separate out of this continent, migrate to that separate territory, let the government give us everything we need to establish our own independent economic system and society, and thereby we'll be able to solve our own problems ourselves and prove that we're a human being and a part of the human family and can do for ourselves what other humans have done for themselves.
We need to form our own nation. We've been had races, now we want reparations and self-determination on our own land. Either part of the black belt of America or give us back our homeland. Cause we've been violated. Asking me why I hated Uncle Sam, well goddamn he tried to annihilate us. On ships covered with piss all through the night. Slavery and police dogs, we want human rights. They say prisons for killers, pimps, and whores, so free political prisoners and prisoners of war. Come on. It's a genocide, how they killing guys in makeshift wars, and they ignore that the children die. In our profession, seeking freedom and progression for complete black power and sexist suppression. Till I can see the armies full of passionate faces who devoted to the formations of new African nations. Free the land.
To take care of the needs, to take care of the wants and the likes and the dislikes of our people. The right and the ability to stand on this earth on some land of our own, to establish our own nation, our own society, our own heaven, our own future. This is what we mean by freedom, by equality.
In the land of the free, The home of the slave, home of the killer police trying to throw us in graves. Home of the traps and drug dealers, cracks and thug figures trying to pose like they know my pain. I hope my pain don't do nothing to suppress my steps. It's best to seek justice, cause in the end it's death if you don't fight. That's why passive blacks often bother me. Refer to Malcolm X for definitions of equality. The Malcolm X grassroots movement.
Equality means the opportunity to develop all of our dormant potential. Justice means as you sow, so shall you reap. When you're in your own nation, in your own land, you're in a position to get justice.
This is a message brought to you in part by Running Back Guillotine Productions, Growth and Development Party, and Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. Yeah.
You wonder why you having trouble in this country. This country is based upon nothing but hypocrisy.
We should defend ourselves. We only mean vigorous action in self-defense by any means necessary.
1 2 1 2. What's happening, y'all? Outlaw Radio. We back in this thing, man. Back in this thing, man. Outlaw Radio was back in this thing, y'all. And I'm happy to be here. It's feeling real good just to be here. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here. Yeah, it's feeling real good just to be here. I had to get hood just to be here. Yeah, they want to put me in the ground. They want to put me down. They want to shoot the shots out loud. They want to shoot shots up in the crowd. But I duck with a smile and I'ma run fast. You know, I can't really pump gas cause it costs too much. But I boss too much. I'ma win, but I lost too much. Yeah, hold up. I ain't gonna go too hard on y'all, man. I ain't gonna go too hard today on the freestyle, but I'm in a good mood, so I had to get a little something into it. Get a little something in there with y'all, man. How y'all doing? I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody's doing awesome. Awesome sauce. I am your esteemed host, Big Nail Obuya. Zalu, representing Outlaw RBG movement. Shout out to Team RBG. Before I start giving other people shout out to the ancestors, shout out to the ancestors, shout out to the ancestors, shout out to the ancestors. Gotta give a shout out to Malik Kalam. Gotta give a shout out to Tupac Shakur, Matulu Shakur, Asada Shakur, Afeni Shakur, the whole Shakur camp. Gotta give a shout out to Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. Give a shout out to Ella Baker. Shirley Chisholm. Shout out to Shirley Chisholm. Man, all the ancestors. Take a moment to shout out your own personal ancestors. Ashe. Beautiful. And yeah, man, you know, this is one of my favorite weeks of the year. When we gearing up for the Malcolm X Festival, y'all. Clap it up for the Malcolm X Festival. I think somebody said don't clap it to the mic because it sounds crazy. My bad, y'all. But yeah, so we here though. Outlaw Radio, 2 Raw for TVs in the building. Shout out to Team RBG, Black State of Emergency. Shout out to Dead Prez. That was a song with Stickman earlier. I played called I Believe. And then a piece from my joint from the Black Power album called Revolutionary Black Nationalism, otherwise known as S5. And S5 is a category of revolutionary black nationalism that I talk about in the Black Political Thought book that will be released. I'm going to re-release it because I had to rewrite it. What I wanted to do was go in and kind of touch on some points with a little bit more of a fine-tooth comb. Put a little more research to it, you know what I'm saying? I really wanted to get more research to it because I didn't feel like, because I don't know, I was reading over it and I was like, this is cool, but I feel like I can give the people more. So I wanted to put more in-depth research. So I did a little bit more digging, did a little more research, and pulled out some way more resources than I was using, as well as kind of integrated some more storylines into the book. So it's actually an academic piece right now. You could use that book for teaching a class in Black political thought or African American studies or, whatever you teach. So it's definitely up there. It's a top tier book now. And I'll be re-releasing that hopefully this weekend. I got the website going up, and I might even go live just to show y'all me working on the website, just so I can see what that looks like. I know a lot of folks they've heard of what we do at Running Back Media in terms of helping businesses to not lose money, not lose leads, not lose resources. So we help businesses with that, and I think I'm just gonna go live and kind of show you all what that looks like, at least for my own site, because I had to restructure it. Currently, if you go to Run It Back Media, you'll see some stuff around like the DJing, because we were getting ready to do the West Side, the West End, not West End, Westview Wednesday and Westview Wednesday or some shit like that. We're getting ready to do that. We're no longer doing that because unfortunately, it looks like the cafe has closed down. Since they closed down, we can't really do any events over there, right? So that's that. I'm not sure what's going on with them. Praying that everything's cool for them. You never want to see a black business go out of business, but I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, it was out of the blue. We didn't even really get a heads up. So I think I was expecting to get some. Well, I want to go into detail about that. That's none of y'all business. But needless to say, we're not doing anything over there. So I can change the website up, and I'm gonna do it live so y'all can see what that looks like. Also, I did want to give a Street Scholar report. Let me tell you why this week matters so much, because of course, like I said, the birthday of El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, better known as Malcolm X, will be on May 19th. He will be 101 years old, y'all. Give it up for that. It's like a little applause gonna come at some point. Give it up for El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X, man, having that born day on May 19th. Gonna be 101 years old if he was still with us. And of course we have the Malcolm X Festival that is normally that weekend of his birthday. In this case, this year it's going to be on May 16th and May 17th at the West End Park. So let me pull up the information so I can have it all right in front of me. I know it. You know what I'm saying? I've been dealing with the Malcolm X Festival a long time, so let me just come off the dome. It's going to be at the West End Park. Normally it starts about 12 noon, so I'm assuming that's when the park opens for the festival, 12 noon, where you'll be able to access the vendors and chop it up with the folks on stage. This year they got a few different performances. A few different artists are gonna be there. Let's see, what's this guy's name? AJ McQueen is gonna be there. Folks who like AJ McQueen. Of course, Ross Kofi's always in the building for the Malcolm X Festival. Masiki Scales and the crew with the Common Ground Collective, they're gonna be in the building. Which I gotta holler at them, by the way, man. I really want to book them for some events, so it'd be cool if we can work together. I'm gonna be in touch, y'all. Masiki Scales and the Common Ground Collective, I'll be in touch with y'all. Abyss, also be in touch with you as well. Hopefully we can connect. We got the Marcus Garvey Festival coming up in August, so I would like to get some of these folks to get down with that. The homie Zaid Malik will be in the building as well, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have big homie Zaid up in the building, you know what I'm talking about? Outlaw RBG representing. So, it's always good to have all the Outlaw RBGs in one place, you know what I'm saying? It's been a while since we've all kind of kicked it like that, and it's normally around the Malcolm X Festival time when we really get that chance to do it like that. So, Outlaw RBG, of course, that's Malik Kalam, who's no longer with us. Myself, Zaid Malik, Mike Chambers, Dirty Red, so we were all, that's pretty much the cadre. It's a few more folks that I'm probably missing. But yeah, so it'd be cool to have a brother in the building. DJ Sundiata gonna be there. The Ear Doctor, DJ Ear Doctor gonna be there. DJ Chai Pro. I don't know if it's Chi Pro or Chai Pro. I ain't never heard of the guy, but or it might be his sister. I don't know, but they might be dope. They booked for the Malcolm X Festival, so we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to Quilombo Pan African School and the New African Scouts gracing the stage as well. That's always great to see. So shout out to them. We will also on May 16th be having the Fire in the Booth. Fire in the Booth. More fire. More fire. Ha. That's my Caribbean excuse me. That's my Caribbean impersonation. So you won't get much more from me from that because I ain't quite got it like that. You have to call my little brother and sister for that. They can give you that whole Jamaican piece. The whole patois. Wagwan. But yeah, so the Fire in the Booth will be at 1111 Sports Grill. What is it? 1111 Sports Bar and Grill. That's what it is. 1111 Sports Bar and Grill. Let me pull up the information for that so I can give y'all that as well. I will actually be in the building performing for that joint. So shout out to that. I know y'all don't really get to see me on stage that often, man. So this is a good time of year to see that because I'll be on stage for the Fire in the Booth. And I'll also be featured in our Claim Malcolm X Day event. I'll actually be speaking at that event, though. I won't be performing. But the Fire in the Booth is Saturday. It's every Saturday, but this particular Saturday is going to be dope because it has myself, Winston J, Aya, my folk Patience going to be in the building, and my big homie Red Fidel going to be in the building. So, look out for that. It starts at 7 p.m. We're going to start streaming at 7. We go live at 7. Festivities kick off at 7, but the doors open at 6. Y'all can get in there early. Get in there early, y'all. I know it's the same day as the Malcolm X Festival, so some of you all who come to the festival early in the day, y'all can go ahead, come to the festival, kick it, do your thing, go home and shower up, come back out, kick it with us, or you can just come as the after party. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of stuff going on that evening. I know George and me and the whole gang with them are having something later on, which is a little bit later than our event. So we're not stepping on toes too much. I think their event starts at 9. So you'll have some time. So all my folks at the Malcolm X Festival, man, when y'all come out, if y'all coming into town or if you kicking it at the park, you local, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Break away and come through and kick it with us at the Fire in the Booth. We're gonna be doing it every Saturday, but I won't be performing every Saturday. So it'd be good to come, see your boy on stage. Like I said, that's 1111 Sports Bar and Grill out there in Ellenwood area. That's the South DeKalb area. DeKalb, I guess that's DeKalb County. Is that DeKalb? We're going to call it DeKalb. It's the east side. So y'all come out for that, man. That's going to be dope. She's got a report. What else I got for y'all? She's got a report. I do want to tell you all about the Claim Malcolm X Day. I think I spoke a little bit about it before because we were kind of chopping it up. But I do want to give a shout out to my folks in the Malcolm X Foundation. Folks in the Malcolm X Foundation, shout out to y'all. They out there in Tehran, which is in Iran or Iran. We're going to have folks that's tuning in, on the stream or whatnot. Coming from New York, LA, Mississippi, Chicago, Alabama. Folks from all over the world, you know what I'm talking about? They're going to be kicking it with us, man. So shout out to that. The Claim Malcolm X Day event, that's also going to be at 1111 Sports Bar and Grill, featuring myself as the featured speaker, where I will be talking about freedom fighters and being a freedom fighter and how you don't let the rhetoric around what you're doing as a freedom fighter deter you from that work, because they might call you a terrorist. Performance is going to be featured by Sincere. Winston J going to be in the building for that as well. So shout out to Winston J, just making it double take, double do. Son the Gray's going to be in the building, and then we got Flint Sky gonna be in the building as well. And I think we just added somebody too. We added the brother So 9. It's a Haitian brother, so he gonna be in the building as well. So shout out to the whole gang, man. With a Too Raw for TV. There's definitely a Too Raw for TV Malcolm X Foundation collaboration, and we're gonna be doing some more stuff with the Malcolm X Foundation as well, man. We got some folks over there that really want to get some music done. They want to get some, just some continued organizing work, because we got to really oppose oppression, man. See, what's happening is around the world, people are beginning to wake up to some of the oppressive regimes. And that's not to say that the regime in Iran isn't oppressive, because we have to continue to be critical, right? I live in America. I was born and raised here. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, I'm here, and I'm going to stand for the best interests of those who live here. The foundational Black Americans that live here, and the New Africans, all the folks that are here, I represent for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just like the folks in the Malcolm X Foundation represent for the folks in Tehran and down out in Iran. So that's what that is. At the same time, that's not to say that we agree with what our governments are doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly agree with what America's doing in terms of their political stance when it comes to immigrants, how they choose to deal with crime, how they choose to deal with drug addiction, how they choose to deal with poverty and wealth building in this country. I have a lot of problems with that, and that's the reason why I do what I do. But by no means am I a terrorist. I don't create terror just for the sake of doing it. I don't terrorize people who are living peacefully. I may disturb the peace a little bit, of course. Shout out to Ludacris. I might disturb the peace a little bit, but I'm not going to terrorize you. Okay? I am going to make you uncomfortable so that you can understand what's going on, realize there needs to be a change, and I can be a catalyst to that change. So that's what that's about. And same thing for the folks over there in the Malcolm X Foundation. I highly encourage those folks, while we stand against the oppressive forces of the United States during this war that's going on with your country, also hold tight to the critique of your own regimes in your own country as well. It might not be as easy because they don't have the same freedoms of speech that we have here. But let us know. Just let us know what we need to say. We'll say it here. We'll get it out for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what coalition is all about. And in the spirit of revolutionary coalescence, that's how we get down. We connect with folks out in Cuba. We connect with folks out in Iran. We connect with folks out in South America. The folks in South America, the folks in South Africa. We connect with folks who are dealing with oppression wherever you live. So that's what it means to be a revolutionary. And I know some people who are new to this, a little bit new. Y'all may be a little bit new to the game. Y'all might believe that a black revolutionary shouldn't work with people who aren't black people, shouldn't work with groups that aren't black groups. And that's contrary to revolutionary concepts. If you look throughout history, if you just pick up a book and do a little bit of research, you'll find that revolutions are about coalitions, y'all. It's about coalitions, but I digress on that. And that is our Street Scholar Report. I didn't really have a whole lot of other stuff to talk about for real on the Street Scholar Report. I guess I could have, but there's always a bunch of stuff to talk about when we got the Street Scholar Report. But it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show, y'all, because like I said, this is a busy weekend. I got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. We got a lot going on, y'all. So I wanted to get in here and really just give y'all a shout out. That's really all I wanted. I do want to touch on a little bit of something, though, while we here and chopping it up. Because I want to talk about Malcolm X just in general, and I want to talk about the influence that Malcolm X has had on me. Not just as a community organizer, not just somebody who is a leader, but a human being as a person, Excuse me. Y'all gotta give me a little bit of an excuse. Excuse me, because I just got finished downing this. I had a little smoothie of mangoes and moringa. I had mixed it with some peanut butter and some protein, get my muscles up, and man, That was a nice little drink. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Mangoes and Moringa. But anyway, but yeah, so Malcolm X heavily influenced me in my life. I actually started reading the Alex Haley's Autobiography of Malcolm X when I was, how old was I? I think I was like 14 or 15. I think I was about 14 or 15 when I started, thumbing through that book. And it took me a while to get through it because I wasn't like a reader like that. In school, how in school we do our schoolwork and all that kind of stuff. But when you get out of school, you kind of just go home and do your thing. I'm just like that. I was like that everybody else, at first. But then I started reading the book and I started to see some parallels between Malcolm and myself. In the book, he starts off Malcolm Little. Now, this book was written was published back in 1965. So this is a long time ago, right? But I still saw some similarities in him. Just somebody who was in the streets kind of dealing with what he had to deal with, but not necessarily of the streets per se. Always kind of seemed a little bit different. And I saw parallels in that. And then it was that Spike Lee movie where they did the X movie, the Malcolm X movie, where Denzel Washington played Malcolm X. That really kind of brought it to life for me because it was one thing to read. That's what I was saying. Like at first I was kind of just thumbing through the book, but then I saw the movie and I was like, whoa, that's Malcolm X? Okay. And I went and finished the whole rest of the movie. And it was a real big, Malcolm just in general is a real big influence to me because a lot of what he talked about in terms of self-determination for our communities, protections, self-defense, like that resonated with me because I always had a problem with the civil rights movement. I always kind of had a problem with integrationism and assimilationism when it comes to blacks in America because I felt like, so to take it to integration as a strategy, they used their bodies, putting themselves in harm's way in order to bring attention to the conditions of racism and segregation and Jim Crow that was going on in the country. Because it wasn't just the South. Right? People like to say the South, but what you don't realize is anywhere in America where you have white people isolated from others, isolated from, other ethnic groups, they don't necessarily have to deal with those ethnic groups. You're going to have racism, you're going to have ignorance. They may even experience some interactions with, folks who are of Latin descent or black people of African descent. But what happens in those spaces when you have a dominance of white hegemony in an area like Wisconsin, in an area like Nebraska, in an area like Alabama, when you have those, the small footprints of other races are kind of forced to assimilate. Like you don't really have a choice. So what you find is when you interact with those folks, you talk to the black folks that live, like I'll give you an example. When I was in Austin, I lived there for a while, and I would talk to some of the black people who lived in the white area that my mom moved us to. And man, these black dudes, man, if you close your eyes and listen to them talk, you couldn't tell the difference, yo. You really couldn't. It's like, what the fuck is this, another white boy? And I'm talking about this dude had the braids like Mystical, you know what I'm saying? Kind of looked like Mystical a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he was on the football team and athlete and all that kind of stuff, and he was always around those guys and he grew up with those guys, he had already assimilated. There was no blackness in them to be had, let alone talking to him about Malcolm X and all that kind of stuff. So, needless to say, that was my interaction with those folks. And I found that you can't really, there's nobody to bounce your blackness off of. There's nobody to, you'd have to live vicariously. And these days, to live vicariously through black culture, if you did it through social media and TV, you'd be doing ignorant, stupid shit. That's why, like, when you see like white folks and he's he talking black, he's trying to talk like he black. That's because they're imitating the most ignorant. I won't even say ignorant because apologize. I wouldn't say ignorant. The lowest common denominator of what it means to be black. They're copying that, which is funny because that is copying white people. We're actually copying the white cracker class that was emerging during the enslavement of black people. I'm gonna do a show about this at another time. I had a conversation earlier and I mentioned this to a brother. Whiteness has changed in America, and what has happened in America is they've had to change whiteness because they don't want to change the financial issue. Because if you think about it, a poor white person would be diametrically opposed to Republicans and the way that the Republican Party runs things in this country if they really understood what Republicans are about. So what Republicans do is they play culture wars. And in these culture wars, that's how they get the poor whites on their side. So poor whites support Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump will go on record and say, I don't even care about American finances. I don't care about what's going on in your household. That can be true. And these white people will still support Donald Trump because of the culture war. Because what's more important to them is their whiteness than coming out of poverty. They're comfortable. And there was once a man, I can't remember who said it, but there was a man who said once, if you're comfortable, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, obviously, people don't leave a situation that they say that they that they say that they dislike until they become uncomfortable. Because for a lot of black people, they comfortable in the hood. So we talk about, we got to get our community to not embrace poverty culture and slave culture and this and that, but they're comfortable with it. So it would be difficult to get them to stop living like that, stop acting like that, because the level of comfort. It won't be until it's uncomfortable where they would want to change. So for example, if there was no subsidies that kept black women who had children and didn't have working skills, if they didn't have subsidies that gave them food and gave them income, then they would have to do something different. They would have to change. And I mean, there's so many different things, like folks who are homeless, they get free food if they know where to go to get the free food. They're comfortable. There's a level of comfort. And the average person will say, well, that's not comfortable. You're sleeping outside. Of course, it's not comfortable to us, but what's comfortable to one person could be uncomfortable to another. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could stay in a plank for 2 minutes. Somebody else might be uncomfortable after 30 seconds in that plank. So, it really is relative when it comes to comfort. But in general, there are certain things that go across the board that has been allowed to happen when it comes to comfort. And the same thing goes for the white community as well. They could very well stand up against some of these people who are instituting laws and mandates that make it difficult to live in America. They can stand up against Trump. They can stand up and protest this war and demand it stop. If Trump's constituency said they didn't want the war, then this war would end a lot faster than it's ending. But the problem is people still support Donald Trump, even though they don't support the war. They don't support the war, but they support Donald Trump. So they're going to keep support Donald Trump in order to be faithful and to be, what do you call it? What's the word? Why the word escaped me like that? I guess because I ain't had that much sleep. I've been trying something different with my schedule. So my sleep has been ripped up. My sleep has been ripped up, man. I need to fix that. But yeah, so anyway, loyalty, that's the word. They're loyal. So they're loyal to the Republican Party because of Donald Trump and not for anything else. And what's going to happen is once Trump is no longer the person that represents the Republican Party, a lot of these folks are liable to switch up if they don't use culture wars. So pay close attention to the elections that are coming up. You could look now. You can go online because they got a lot of commercials. At least in the state of Georgia, I've seen a bunch of commercials for the candidates. They got a lot of commercials that are kind of attacking other people for their stance on certain cultural issues, cultural centered issues. So immigration is an issue that's talked about a lot in these commercials. Joe Biden and people still in elections and all that kind of stuff. A lot of this stuff is culture wars. I heard some about, urban people in urban areas doing this and doing that. Whenever they say urban, they're talking about blacks and Latinos. That's their way of saying it without saying it so they don't sound racist to the Republicans who still want to at least look like they're not racist. Like, we don't want everybody to know we not racist. Let's just be easy on that now. That's how that is. But anyway, what I have found is, well, let me move forward on that because I don't want to belabor that point because it's going to be a long show otherwise. So I mentioned the Autobiography of Malcolm X, written by Alex Haley. Make sure that you go get that. That's one of the first books that you're going to want to read in order to really get acclimated to Black liberation if you are interested in such, because it's going to give you a good understanding of how life transforms when you gain consciousness. Malcolm X goes from the street and gets into the Nation of Islam, where he quickly becomes a leader, a speaker, a very profound speaker, so it's very popular. And he comes into conflict with Elijah Muhammad over that and over some things that he chooses to bring to the light that he found out about Elijah Muhammad, which shows his growth in character. And then he begins to really focus on the Pan-African efforts and the Black focused efforts as opposed to a lot of the rhetoric that had been circulated around the Nation of Islam. Not to say that the Nation of Islam doesn't focus on those things, but more so now than they did back then. So one of the books you got to read is the Autobiography of Malcolm X. You got to do that. Also, I think it's important that we are in the spirit of Malcolm X. So we talk about self-determination and self-defense. Two of my favorite subjects, two of my favorite sports. Self-determination is dealing with your ability to do things yourself. And a lot of times when we talk to young people and they want to have independence, they don't realize that independence requires self-determination. So you can't be independent if you still depend on somebody else for money, or depend on somebody else for help, or you depend on somebody else for a place to stay. That's not necessarily independence. That is maybe on the way to independence. So you have to work on that. And self-determination is that route. That's for adults too. A lot of adults have not figured out what self-determination actually is. And they need somebody to do stuff for them. I saw a video the other day where a sister was berating her boyfriend because she was trying to get an auto loan and he didn't want to co-sign the loan. And it's like, and he said it too. He's like, I'm not confident that your money is set up properly in order for you to be able to pay for this car. So I don't want to co-sign. And she started deflecting and making it all about whether or not he cares about her and all that kind of crazy shit. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, yeah, man, shit. Be thoughtful about what you're gonna do with your stuff, because you don't want to tie up your finances with everybody. And as an individual, you got to be self-determined. So she has to figure out what to do. And that takes me to a story that I had. 'Cause I remember I was fresh out of high school. I think this might have been like my a year and a half out of high school. So I was in college at this point. I'm working, and I go to buy a car. Now I can afford the car. Like at this point, like I actually had the money to afford this car. So it wasn't like I didn't have the money. I was a little bit different situation than the sister. But even still, my mom wouldn't co-sign for me. I didn't have any credit to speak of. And the credit I did have, let's just say family doesn't always shoot straight when it comes to using your credit. So basically make sure you guard your social security number, y'all. Don't give your social security out to nobody, no family especially, but don't give it out to nobody. But anyway, so my credit wasn't all that. I wasn't able to get an auto loan by myself, and she didn't co-sign for me, and I was upset at her for a while for not co-signing. And it wasn't until I became like a full-grown adult, because I was an adult then, but not necessarily full-grown. It wasn't until I became a full-grown adult that I was like, maybe that was the best move, because not to say I was irresponsible, I definitely could have used the car to be able to get around and take care of business. There were jobs that I really could have had that if I had a car, I could have got them. So there's a lot to be said about, not being able to have a car. But at the same time, it made me tough. It made me really have to get it out the mud and figure out myself. And once I did that, there was a level of pride and dignity that I had. So I take care of my cars. You know what I'm saying? I wash them and get them worked on and all that kind of good stuff. But that's self-determination. And the self-defense piece. Self-defense is about I like the Pumziko, when we stand in Pumziko in Kupigani and Gumi, where the right hand is open, ready to receive. The left hand is closed, ready to defend. And I like that perspective. I think that's the true form of self-defense, because self-defense isn't necessarily aggressive. I'm attacking you in order to defend myself. And America takes this posture of self-defense by attack. So their self-defense is about, we gonna shoot you first. This whole reason for the Iran war in the first place, they said on a couple of different platforms that it was because Israel was going to attack Iran, and they knew that their folks over there in the Gulf states were going to be attacked if they didn't do something. So they decided to go to war. And then, now you can't get anybody to admit that. Now it's this whole thing about we got to get them we got to get the weapons of mass destruction. We got to get the nuclear. We can't let them be nuclear and this and that. But I firmly believe that Iran has a right to self-defense, just like America has a right to self-defense, just like Israel has a right to self-defense. Every country, every sovereign nation has a right to defense and self-defense, and even Palestine has a right to self-defense. I think that Palestine has been getting a bad rap because, some Palestinians did some. I ain't gonna lie, they did go overboard with it. You start kidnapping folks and raping and murdering and all that kind of stuff. I can't condone that. I don't condone those actions. And two, I understand the mindset that goes into the need to do that in order to gain liberation. I know that during some of the slave uprisings in America, where black enslaved people were uprising, I don't know if they weren't raping people. Of course they weren't doing that, but we definitely was cutting off some heads. And even during the Haitian Revolution, they was cutting off some heads. So it's not necessarily foreign for there to be violence in when you're fighting against oppression. However, you do want to be careful not to cross the line and take away somebody's humanity. That's what goes into that rape and murder stuff of innocence, children, and all that kind of stuff. We don't condone that. So self-defense is a thing. We down for it. We just got to have the right context for it. I suppose I could give y'all a final word and let y'all on y'all way. I said it was going to be a short show, and it ended up being about the same length as most shows, and probably because I like to run my mouth. But I want to give y'all a final word, and this ain't got that. This has to do with what we're talking about. But it's a little bit different because it touches on loyalty and this whole idea of value, right? You can't value other people more than they value themselves. You can't make somebody a superstar. People can't. A lot of this goes for a lot of like the people who work with artists, managers, and stuff like that, or even with your children, or with your peer circle. You can't make somebody become great. If they don't want to be great, you can't do nothing about that. If somebody wants to be a loser, let them be a loser. You know what I'm talking about? If somebody wants to be, a shyster, let them go about their business. You can't make everybody fit into the mold that you want to fit in. And two, you can't fall victim to the propaganda that people put out about you. Plenty of folks got these words coming out their mouth talking about how much I got a problem with them. But let's be clear, like, I got too much going on to have problems with people, just perpetual problems with people walking around having beef with people. Anybody that I do have an issue with, I've told them that we can easily set it by running a fair one, and that'll settle it. I'm very, like, what they call Old Testament when it comes to that, man. Like, I ain't gonna hold no grudge against you, especially if you was talking shit and you want to just go ahead and settle it. I'm cool, and we can go with gloves or no gloves. You know what I'm talking about? The problem is people don't have that kind of integrity where they stand for something. They'd rather just, have people feel sorry for them. So make it a point, if you are a street scholar, if you are somebody who is, adhering to the street scholar philosophy that we put out on this show, make it a point to not fuck with bitch ass people. Make it a point that if you see something that you don't like, don't even build something with them that you have to later break down if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not holding up their end of the bargain. It's just, you don't want to waste your time like that, because, there's this whole idea of I've invested my time, so let me keep going, let me keep doing. And honestly, that really doesn't work, because if you do that, they call it sunk cost fallacy. You could lose a lot more time and a lot more money and energy than just giving up and moving forward. There's nothing wrong with gracefully bowing out. I lost this round. It happens. You can't win them all. But don't let people put you in a box when it comes to who you are, because they are in a box when it comes to who they are. All right. And that's my final word for this week. We live in a stolen government on stolen land, so we speak a stolen language. Outlaw RBG, Zalu.
Of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself who taught you to hate being what God gave you. We teach you to love the hair that God gave you. Here you way out in the middle of the ocean, can't swim, and you worried about someone that's in the bathtub and can't swim. We don't steal, we don't gamble, we don't lie, and we don't cheat. And that also deprives the government of revenue. Because you can't get into a whiskey bottle without getting past the government seal. You can't open a deck of cards without getting past the government seal. There's a white man makes the whiskey and then puts you in jail for getting drunk. He sells you the cards and the dice and puts you in jail when he catches you using them. So he's against us because we fix it where he can't catch you anymore. We take the dice out of your hands and the cards out of your hands and the whiskey out of your head. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women.
Outlaw RBG. Salute.